Aoife and this is the Happy Weight Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm telling you, a week is a long time when you've loads to say. I've been like champing at the bit because today's Wednesday and I usually record this on a Tuesday, and I'm like, that one day extra, I'm like, I have so much to say. I'm glad to be back. And thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much if you're a repeat listener, if you listen to other episodes as well. And as always, I would really love if you could like or give it 5 stars on Spotify or follow me on YouTube. That would be class. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about how not having a plan could be your best plan yet. Right? Because like before I start, I suppose it is kind of an example of it, right? So this morning was up at 6, left West Cork at 7:30, got up here for 9, jumped straight into call, so hadn't had breakfast, hadn't had coffee. And then when I came off my call, I was like, oh my God, all I want in life is like muffininess, like not just chocolate, like baked chocolate. That's really what I wanted. And then I was like, you know, I suppose, because see, I'm always comparing the difference between what I used to be like in a weight problem and what I'm like now. So I suppose then my next thought was like, okay, yeah, how will I feel in 20 minutes time? Because I do that from time to time. I'll have a giant coffee in the morning and I'll have something sugary, and then I'll be as high as a kite bouncing off the walls and then kind of crash sometimes later. So I was kind of thinking like, yeah, I want the chocolatiness, but I kind of want a nice feeling in my belly as well. So I said, you know, I brought stuff to work for an omelette. So I had eggs and cheese and mushrooms and tomato. And I said, look, I'll have my omelette first and then I'll see how I feel. Because sometimes I have my omelette and then, you know, that's all my body wanted and it's grand. But anyways, I had my omelette. And then I was like, no, I still need that floury, baking, chocolatey yumminess. So I went to Cost Cutter next door and I got myself a muffin. And like, I'm all for quality, not quantity. But also, I wasn't willing to walk further afield than Cost Cutter. So I went for their €2 could outlive us all on a shelf somewhere, like no live elements whatsoever, probably a 10-year best before date. However, it's the chocolatey yumminess that I wanted. So I was thinking the other difference with that, right, is before, when I would have been in a weight problem, the minute I came off the call and I thought of a chocolate muffin, I would have been like, I deserve it, this happened. Like anyone who makes rules around food, anyone who has a belief that this food is wrong and it's only certain conditions that you get to eat it, you just spend your whole life then justifying eating it. So you actually end up eating more of it than the average Joe. And I think the word for that is counter-regulation. So your body naturally regulates, but by us making a plan to not eat something, we actually eat more of it than the average Joe. So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have thought through anything. I would have been like, I deserve it, I'm tired, I'll be good tomorrow, and I would have just got anything with sugar in it. Like I wouldn't have been like, because like if you want something sugary, sugar is a big word. There is like a million products you could get with sugar. Say with chocolate, it's like, do you want chocolate ice cream? Do you want chocolate biscuits? Do you want a chocolate bar? Do you want baked chocolate? Like, do you want a hot chocolate? Like, so I would have been very non-specific because I would have kind of almost been in fight or flight mode. I would have been like, I thought it, I'm having it, I'm going to eat it before I talk myself out of it or before I realize that I should actually be being good. So I would have just got my hands on anything with sugar. And then there's all the times that I would have just had like Rivita and jam or something and pretended that would scratch the itch of a chocolate muffin. Like they're two completely different universes. So anyways, now I am happy out, happy belly, full of my omelette and my friend here next to me, my muffin, yet to be finished, delighted with that. So I just thought that was a good story of the difference between having a weight problem and not having a weight problem. And obviously it goes without saying, I've no guilt, like as in, I just care about my body. I just care about my health and my weight. And, you know, yeah, my health and my weight comes down to my physical signals And all my physical signals are delighted with me right now. My taste buds are delighted with me. My belly is delighted with me. So whatever crap my brain would go on about, I'm like, I don't care, because I'm actually committed to being a healthy weight. So if I'm committed to being a healthy weight, I actually only care about the signals from my nose down. So that's how I'd go about that. But anyways, right, back to why not having a plan is the best plan. And that is obviously the most scary thing ever. If you are really used to, like, okay, what's my game plan this week? My game plan this week is gluten-free. Cool, I'm going with gluten-free. Or my game plan this week is I'm not going to have any red meats. Or my game plan this week is I'm going to pack my lunch every day. And like, when we're in a lot of fear, and fear is just the opposite of trust. So anyone with a weight problem, we don't have any trust in our body. We think it has to be stopped and interjected as it's trying to make us obese. So we've got no trust in our body. We've no trust in ourselves and food, or even food availability. So we control. And so part of how we control is, this is my plan. I need a plan. I need a rigid plan. So when I'm working with clients and undoing their weight problem, helping them let go of weight and create a good relationship with food, one of the hardest things at the start is like, oh my God, so there's no rules. And I'm like, by not having rules, you're actually being way more on it, because we fool ourselves with fantasy, like as in saying, okay, my new thing now is to just eat a bit more protein in the morning. Or, like we dress up rules and control like, oh, it's not really a rule though. It's just like a kind of positive thing I'm doing. It's like, nah, it's a rule and you're scared. That's why it's there. So we're like, yeah, we'll have that rule, right? And then it's kind of like, we're basing everything on that, we're like, okay, and then be so cool, right? I won't eat any carbs, and I'll be feeling really light in a few days, and then everything will be fixed, and I won't have to feel like how I feel now. And it's all fantasy, right? And the problem is with fantasy is we've missed, like we're missing out on a way better way of dealing with things, right? Because the origin of why we go into fantasy and planning is we're not liking how we feel right now, so maybe we feel heavy or overfull, and we're just freaked out, and we're like, I need to control this, I need to fix this, I need to not feel like this. But really, actually, the first step there would be to parent yourself and be like, honey, your belly's a little bit full, that's okay, that's normal. That doesn't mean you have a weight problem, like as in someone could be their ideal weight all their lives and still have a full belly right now. I'm sure there's thousands of people around the country or the world right now who are experiencing a full belly or some heaviness or whatever, and they don't have issues with eating and weight. So this is a normal feeling. This is the terms and conditions of being a human, and you can manage this. Like, you can sit with this feeling of fullness without shame, without blame, without guilt, and without going into fantasy and planning about tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And so we're really self-soothing, right? Because the thing is, everyone overeats, just like everyone feels cold from time to time. Like the terms and conditions of being a human are, you're going to feel full sometimes, or you're going to feel overfull, or you're going to feel bloated, or you're going to feel heavy. Everyone does. But the difference between someone with a weight problem and someone without a weight problem is someone with a weight problem will have a very strong emotional and personal reaction to those physical signals. So yet again, our body's just doing what it's doing. Like if we're bloated and gassy, that's our gut microbes creating some vitamin B12 and chowing down on leftovers left in the gut. Like our body's just doing its job. So there's no big deal at all. But we will be like, it's me, I failed, I've messed up again, this means I'm wrong, I'm a failure, I didn't stick to my word or stick to my plan, like what's wrong with me, I'll always have a weight problem. So this like ridiculously like catastrophe thinking, blown out of proportion reaction to just a full belly. Like that's literally all it is a full belly. And I know you know this logically, that no matter how full you are, your body will gradually get through the food in your belly, and in a few hours' time, you will feel hungry again. So there is no possible game over situation when you feel very full, right? So, and also like you can't really really do that much damage, right? Because if you really like over it, your body would just expel it. Like you'd vomit or you'd get the runs. But like basically the more you overeat, the bigger slap on your wrist your body would give you. So like when we're feeling that really heavy, uncomfortable feeling, all it's saying is like, look, your digestive capacity is at its max. Can you slow down now? Because my gallbladder, my stomach, my insulin, whatever else is involved in digestion is like pretty much up to the max. So can you just hang back there for a while and maybe not put more food in? But there's no game over situation. Just like whether I ate soup last night for my supper or whether I had the biggest takeaway known to man last night, you can't tell me that you know what weight I'm going to be in a week's time or a month's time or a year's time because of the supper that I had last night. So it's the same rules apply to yourself. So I suppose we really have to now at that point of the catastrophe thinking or all the negativity and all the overthinking, at that point we have to interject and we have to parent and emotionally regulate ourselves. And you see, that's why we've got enough on without saying we're not going to eat pasta for the next 5 days, because it's a hell of a lot more work parenting yourself hour by hour through the day with your food and being conscious and being kind and remembering your values and remembering, you know, like say for me, okay, it's important for me to be very alert in my afternoon calls this afternoon. So there's some lunches that will make me sleepy and there's some lunches that will be delicious and I'm not sleepy. So, you know, like that's say a value, and might be a value for you that if you are getting takeaway with your kids tonight, that you would like to be as excited as them about it and you would like to experience it like they're experiencing it, which is maybe focusing on how lovely the taste is and feeling lucky to be getting takeaway. So that might come with maybe creating some space in your belly so that your taste buds are more activated and it will be more of a comfortable experience eating later. So I was talking to a client today and she had a bit of a freak out last night. You know, she had actually something awful happened to her. She lost someone very, very close to her. And so for a multitude of reasons, she didn't feel like cooking dinner and she had some cheese on toast. And, you know, her mind went into the catastrophe thinking and it went into the over planning and went into like, maybe Slimming World is right and maybe how many points is that and how can I correct that now tomorrow? How can I undo it? Where are my rules? Where are my guidelines? And I was like, well, the first step is to be normal. The first step is like, let's look at the situation. It's been a horrible day and I didn't feel like making dinner and I had some cheese and toast. Would I really go up to someone else and say, oh my God, you had cheese and toast, by the way, you're always going to have a weight problem now? Like, as in, I'm like, cheese and toast is the most 70s, like, supper you can have. Like, I'm like, the 70s diet was pretty good. Like, having beans on toast for supper or baked potatoes or say maybe fried egg and, fried egg on toast or, you know, those kind of like little suppers that are like comforting and cozy but delicious, or cheese and toast. So it's like, that's a super supper, you know, and there's no fear of her. She'll come buy fruit and veg again today. Like, as in, you know, so there was really nothing wrong with that. And, you know, I was like, okay, so what we need to practice now is basically without any evidence for it, you went straight into catastrophe and you went straight into fantasy and control. So fantasy and control is, right, what are my rules? What are my rules tomorrow? What are my rules the next day? How can I counteract this? And it's like, whoa, you're gone way ahead of the game. Because can we just reel back to, you know, how normal the cheese and toast was? And also the ultimate evidence and the ultimate feedback always has to be, how did your belly feel? What did your taste buds say about it? Because you want to help your body. So it's your body signals that actually matter. Like, I was thinking about it today. It's like, didn't some meeting happen in America I don't know much about politics, but it was something about like, was it women's health? There was a big meeting of politicians about women's health or women's right, and there was no woman in the room. It's like, do you not think a woman might know the most about, say, women's health or legislation or whatever around women's health? Is like, they should kind of be in the room. And that's like what we're doing always with our body, like, or basically we're oppressing our body, because we're like, I have my plan for tomorrow. There is going to be exercise at 6. There's going to be no carbs. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. And it's like, and at any point of that day, do you want to check in with your body? Do you want to check in with your mental health? Do you want to check in with your emotional health, your social health? Because you have no idea what's happening tomorrow. And it might be a really lovely part of your friendship to have a half pint of cider with your friend after work or something. Or it might be, I was thinking about this when I was thinking about saying all this, and it's like, my nephews are growing up, and oh my god, that nearly makes me emotional. But like, Rian is 12 and Noah is 10, and I have such lovely memories of picking them up in Kinsale and taking them for chips and getting them a can of Fanta and really enjoying it with them. And very soon they'll be teenagers, they'll have their own money, and I'm like, I'm so happy we had those memories. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's so gorgeous. So if the Sunday before that Tuesday that I picked them up, if I was like, there will be no takeaway, it's like, what about your other values in life? What about your family being a pretty top value in your life? So it's like, of course you have to incorporate all the points of your health into your decision as the day goes along. And like, when I was thinking about this, I was like, it's kind of like, the way women couldn't vote for decades, and it was like, geez, don't give them the vote anyway, because they'd inevitably mess it up. And that's when someone's controlling or oppressive. It's like, don't even give them the option. Same with women's health. It's like, don't even give them the option of something, because they'd inevitably mess it up or abuse it or not know how to do with it. And that's kind of how we're treating our body. And I'm like, when you see it through that lens, right, and then you maybe know that your body is not thriving, you maybe know you're not at your natural optimum weight, that actually nothing feels natural in recent years, maybe about either your eating or your weight. Maybe there's been a lot of discomfort, physical discomfort, being overfull, being confused, being guilty, being shameful. Like, if any of that has happened, if a lot of physical discomfort has happened around your eating and weight, if a lot of emotional and physical discomfort has happened around your eating, well, you are not at your natural weight. Like, that is about as unnatural as it gets. So again, it's kind of like, just like you can imagine, I was thinking, we all know someone as well whose parents were like ridiculously strict and they weren't allowed to drink or go out or whatever. And then when Leaving Cert came, or when college came, those kids were freaking off the charts bold. Like, I know someone like that who was really, really had controlling parents, and like his first and second year of college were a write-off. Like, I don't even know, did he finish the degree actually? He was just bowled on the drink. And it's because he was so like kept in. So it's like, that's really the expected outcome of not trusting someone and instilling trust and accountability and resilience and all of those things. So that's why we want to stop just taking all the options off the table for ourselves. It's like, no drink for me now for 30 days, or no takeaways for me for 30 days. Or you're just like, you're taking the option off the table without even giving the option of growing trust and learning and self-regulation. So again, I have other friends then that their parents basically didn't give a hoot how long they stayed out for or whatever, and they seem to be the most regulated with drink, especially when we were younger. So you want to give yourself the opportunity to learn and regulate stuff by yourself, and you can't do that if you're making definite rules for all of today and all of tomorrow, because everything now needs to be a case by case basis. Whether we've the worst body in the world or the best body in the world, we're all in the same boat. We can only move forward the next 20 minutes. So whether we're healing, maintaining, improving, our only playing field is the next 20 minutes. Like, you can't fix the past, you can't undo it. You can only move forward now as someone without a weight problem. Like, we can't undo the past and you can't control the future. That's actually so much work, just working on today and just working on the next 20 minutes time and just thinking about your values and what is important to you. And like, the number one rule, I think, of helping our body and our health and our weight is that, like, the score to beat is always your emotional health. What do you need to do to feel emotionally better in the next 20 minutes? What do you need to do to feel physically better in the next 20 minutes time? And I'm telling you, like, when I was getting over this myself, it must have been literally millions of times that when my mind went into planning cutting out food or planning losing weight as an answer to all my problems, I had to remind myself to just soothe in the here and now, that actually you haven't messed up, everything is okay, that actually wasn't a really disordered thing you done with food yesterday or just now or whatever. It's like, that's pretty much a lot of the work. A lot of the work is moving out of fantasy and moving back to let's regulate here and now. And another thing that comes into that, right, is it's kind of like we've one battery for all of this. We've one battery in the department of our eating and our weight. And what I notice, and I've seen this hundreds of times with clients, the ones that are thinkers are not doers. And I heard a AI Alan Watts thing this morning, might get Jack to put it in, it was so good, but it said that procrastination, overthinking is procrastination disguised as productivity. So we think that if we're giving out to ourselves about our weight, if we're thinking about what we ate yesterday, if we're thinking about the exercise we're going to do tomorrow, that we're taking action in our weight. It's like, no. Like, be really clear about that. That's something I need to be so strict on with myself as well. Whenever you go into planning, and whenever you start totting up what you ate so far today or what you ate yesterday, like, your thighs are not in any way benefiting from that. No way, in no way. Your metabolism is in no way benefiting from that discussion. Neither is your tummy fat, nothing. That is literally no help to your physical health. But what it can do is increase the likelihood of comfort eating and overeating. That's what rumination has been shown to do. So people, what they do is, with all the overthinking, the ruminating, the planning, the rules with food, the looking back, the regretting the weight gain, whatever it is, it's like you're depleting your battery. So by the time you do have a free 10 minutes and you could go for a short walk and sit on the bench and listen to birds, or, you know, move your muscles or do something that makes you feel emotionally or physically better, you're too burnt out to do it because you've burnt out that battery by just thinking. So overthinking is something we seriously have to contain now, because, like, overthinking as well, another analogy for it is like we're basically an absentee parent to our body. So while you're thinking about what are all the foods that I'm going to cut out next week, who's minding your body? Like, who's like seeing how it's feeling now, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially? Who's figuring out the situation you're in, how you could feel better? No one is. Like, if you're deep in thought, giving out to yourself for what you ate yesterday, you're like, it's a car going down the road with no driver. That's what your body is like. And that's why we can wake up after years of weight problems and be like, how did my body get like this? And it's like, because we missed it. Because we were in our heads thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. So we missed thousands of signals, misinterpreted them all wrong, or controlled and gave our body the opposite of what it was looking for. And that's how we got like this. So I suppose another analogy for it, I was saying to a client this morning, it's like if you had a toddler and all the toddler wants you to do is play with them. but you're locked away in a room all Saturday, planning Disneyland or Disney World or something for next July. So your kid would rather you just play blocks with them now rather than be absent for the weekend planning stuff on a computer. And that's what we're doing. It's like your body would rather you mind it now rather than make some ridiculous plan for next week that, unlike maybe holidays, the plans that we make food and exercise wise might not work out for many valid, important reasons. They might not work out. So the most important thing is that you're not an absentee parent to your body, and you're actually with it through the day, and you actually care about its signals. You actually care if a food is like meh. Like if a food is tasting meh, like I used to always kind of interpret that as my body being like, oh my God, yet another thing you're making me eat and store that I did not, want, I did not encourage. I have no idea what part of this meh signaling you're interpreting as me wanting it. And of course, the same when my belly was full, I would have, or over full, or I was uncomfortable, I would have interpreted that as like my body being like, geez, I am dying to get to my natural weight and you keep stopping me. Okay, so I think I've bombarded you with enough information for today. I hope you found all of that helpful. And yeah, I'll catch you next week. Thank you so much for listening.